Well, the X marks the spot of tonight's matchup between Boise State and Utah Valley. The Wolverines are entering one of the more hostile environments in all of college basketball. Boise State is putting their 20-game home winning streak on the line tonight. The Wolverines have developed a bit of a reputation as road warriors, though. They won 12 games away from Orem, Utah, the most road victories in all of college basketball last season. Good evening. Happy holidays to all of you at home. Jay Tust alongside Brian King. Happy holidays, my friend.
Happy holidays, Jay. It's been a great one so far, and we've got a great basketball game here tonight in ExtraMile Arena.
Boise State and Utah Valley looking to wrap up non-conference play, and they're doing it at a place where Leon Rice is building a reputation as being one of the best in college basketball. You go back just over the last few seasons, Brian, they are winning at an 89% clip on their home court. You have watched this team for a long time. Heck, you used to play for this team. How have you seen the home atmosphere evolve under Leon Rice?
Well, this is a really tough place to play, Jay, and every coach in the country, especially in the West, knows that. Leon's just taken it to another level. I mean, he's got an amazing coaching staff. He gets better recruits every year, and they win. And so when you come into ExtraMile Arena, you better be ready to do battle with the Broncos.
Whether it be Mike Burns, Tim Duryea, Leon Rice, this program has also built a reputation of being a developmental program. Roddy Anderson is a newcomer to this team. He joins the big three of Tyson, Degenhart, Chibuzo Abo, and Max Rice. But Roddy Anderson is starting to take off in his developmental process.
Yeah, Roddy really is, and he needs to for this team to be successful. He needs to be that elite point guard, and I'll tell you, this coaching staff believes he can do it, Jay. Only 2 turnovers combined in the last 4 games. Roddy's coming along. It's going to open up shooters. It's going to open up those big 3 in the paint. He's critical for the success this year.
He is such an exciting player, and the funny thing about it, he just has to get better at kind of the boring stuff, Brian. And if he does, this Boise State men's basketball team will contend for a Mountain West Conference championship and maybe yet another trip back to the big dance come March Madness. We are back from ExtraMile Arena with tip-off coming up next. Welcome live inside ExtraMile Arena as Boise State Athletics makes their return to KTVB Idaho's News Channel 7 for the first time in over a decade. Excited for this one. Getting set for tip-off between Boise State and Utah Valley.
20-game home streak on the line, Jay, for the Broncos, and a really scary Utah Valley team.
They come away with the opening tip.
Yeah, Utah Valley 6-6 on the season, but had a really good win at Weber State and played Oregon State tough, played Utah tough.
They are one of 6 teams in the country that don't return a single player that started for that team a year ago. A number of new players coming off of a 28-win season last year. Into the lane, ball left short. Oh, check it out. Off the offensive glass, the missed ball poked away. Another chance for Utah Valley, and they come away with an immediate putback point.
Boy, that'll be big for the Broncos tonight. Trevin Dorius averages 3 offensive rebounds a game, the transfer from Utah State.
That was Osiris Grady with the bucket for Utah Valley. Going the other way, working his way down low, in for an easy pair. Omar Stanley coming off a career-high 23 points from just over a week ago.
Boy, he's finding his stride for sure, and he's going to give quality minutes, quality games for the Broncos.
Callahan into the lane, ball poked away down low, and that's Dorius that is able to corral it, go right back up and in. He'll have a chance at a 3-point play.
Utah Valley, not a great 3-point shooting team, but they put it on the floor. They get it on the deck. They go to the rim. They pull up and hit mid-range jump shots, which you never see anymore in this game.
We'll get to our keys to the game here in just a second, but I'm going to give one of them away. Boise State really has to do a good job of contesting 2-point shots tonight. It's funny, you don't often hear that in the game of college basketball today, but that is kind of what Utah Valley's bread and butter is this season. Roddy dribbles it off of his leg and out of bounds. He has done an incredible job over these last few games of not turning the ball over, but an early one there for the first year Boise State men's basketball player.
In both possessions for Utah Valley, they were able to get right by their guy and right to the rim.
Callahan over to Toulson. He's going to get whistled for a walk. First turnover of the game for Utah Valley. You're going to see a Wolverines team really kind of mix it up on defense. They're going to throw a number of different looks at Boise State tonight. They'll play you man-to-man. They'll drop into a couple of different types of zone. It's going to be important for Boise State to kind of know what tempo and pace they need to play with as Utah Valley mixes it up. Stanley going to try a three.
Oh, Stanley's kind of feeling it coming off that game up in Pullman.
One of the more unique stat lines we have seen in the Leon Rice era. Had over 20 points and 3 blocks. The last time that happened in a game by a Bronco was Abu Kijab. Prior to that, you have to go all the way back to Ryan Watkins. It has only been done 3 times in the Leon Rice era.
Another offensive rebound, Jay. That's 3.
Wow, what a dish there. Osiris Grady to a cutting Tanner Toulson for an easy look right at the rim.
Yeah, I told you this team is kind of scary. You mentioned it, 5 new starters and a brand new coach.
Chibuzo, Abo, fadeaway 3, no good. That's Stanley working the offensive glass. Max Rice into the lane, a tough layup attempt. Stanley with his second offensive rebound. And now Degenhart's going to take it in. It gets blocked, goes right back to him. Can't make the follow, and it's out of bounds. It's going to go to Utah Valley.
Boy, the officials letting them play early. A lot of contact.
So Utah Valley out to an early 7-5 advantage here at ExtraMile Arena. Shot clock winding down. Inside of 5 seconds. Callahan looking for help. Going to get bumped by Roddy Anderson. Actually, it's going to say that Callahan stepped out of bounds. Another turnover for Utah Valley. Cam Martin going to check into the game early here as Tyson Degenhart's going to take a breather. I know one thing they're trying to do with Cam Martin, get him going early. You know, when he first transferred here, he might have expected to be the starter on this team, and now he's coming off the bench. We'll get into the reasons why a little bit later on in the broadcast, but trying to get him some early minutes, get him into the rhythm and flow of the game.
Oh.
Right when you said they were letting him play there, Brian.
Yeah, exactly. I went, wow.
Nate Chimunga going to check into the game. Trevin Dorius heads to the bench right before the first media timeout.
Yeah, crowd here at Extra Mile did not like the call on Abo. Again, Broncos in their man-to-man. Utah Valley's they're gonna put it on the deck. That's their game plan.
Toulson over to Stone Carrawell. Stone Carrawell into the lane, up and under. Gets a layup to beat the shot clock. Nice move.
Really nice move. Again, everything at the rim. And you said the Utah Valley will mix up defenses. They'll play man this possession.
Boise State, during their most recent 4-game homestand, started each of those games on fire offensively. Utah Valley doing a good job of matching their intensity to start this one. But Max Rice gets an early bucket that might be good to get him going.
Yeah, and again, I mean, Max Rice, there's no secrets about him anymore. He's not going to get a lot of – the defense is not going to give him open threes. The offense will have to create those for him.
Ball poked away by Abo. Chimunga is going to pick up the foul there. Omar Stanley carrying the hot hand for the Broncos for the second straight game. Boise State down 2 early. We are underway here at ExtraMile Arena. Utah Valley out to an early 9-7 lead. Take a look at a few keys of the game. We begin with Utah Valley. Create balanced offense, crash the defensive glass, but so far it's the Wolverines crashing the offensive glass.
Yeah, they really have, and that was Coach Rice was really curious about how well they were going to be able to keep them off the offensive boards, and so far they haven't.
Boise State, a little over 5 minutes into this game, doesn't have a single defensive rebound yet. That has to change. For the keys of the game for the Broncos, play with pace and confidence as they try to attack this ever-rotating, changing Utah Valley defense. And so far, the Wolverines posing some fits for the Broncos in the half court.
Yeah, Utah Valley sticks to their man-to-man. They haven't mixed it up yet, but they will.
Andrew Meadow checks into the game for the first time this evening, the true freshman. Roddy Anderson's going to probe, leaves it back out for Cam Martin. He thinks about the three, drives it in, and finishes with the two-handed flush.
Boy, Jay, we're glad he thought about the three and didn't take the three. What a great play by Martin.
At one point in time in his career, Cam Martin was an elite three-point shooter. He's dealing with an injury right now that has definitely limited him from distance, but you can see Utah Valley still respecting him from out there. The pump fake, the wide-open cutting look, and gets the two-handed dunk. Roddy Anderson, a nice defensive rebound, and here come the Broncos on offense. Andrew Meadow leaves it for Omar Stanley. Ball poked away, a nice block by Grady. It's going to be Stanley that goes back up with it, a little too strong.
Well, Stanley got a good look. Drake Allen in, and again, preseason all-conference selection. They've got a bunch of tough young guards.
Well, they can say the basket's good there. Foul's going to go against Omar Stanley. That's Chimunga that muscled his way up, just powering his way through. And now he's going to get a chance at a three-point play. Boise State still playing with some rotations here. Tyson Degenhart, Jace Whiting checking into the game. Omar Stanley and Roddy Anderson going to get a breather.
Boy, the Broncos have to find a way to keep that ball away from the basket.
Chimunga only a 45% free throw shooter this year, a 28% free throw shooter last year. Can't complete the three-point play there. Ball down low. That's Cam Martin battling with Chimunga for positioning. Foul's going to go against Chimunga.
Yeah, good set play, good entry pass by Max Rice.
That's part of this offense this year, that inside-out game, especially when Omar Stanley's on the floor.
Boy, when the inside works, the outside mysteriously working.
Max Rice going to launch this one up, gets it to go down from way behind the arc.
Gosh, I've said it 1,000 times. Do not let him get his feet set or a clear look because he's going to make it.
He is a guy, too, that if he gets the first one to go down, it can be a long night.
You are so right. I think a lot of shooters are like that, though, Jay. You get it to go in, again, at the rim.
Allen, the feed down low to Dorius. He's bumped. Talking about right now if he's going to go to the free throw line or not, and he is.
Well, the Wolverines' game plan, they're just executing it. I mean, it's catch it, dribble handoff, penetrate, mid-range, or get to the rim.
This is a familiar face for members of Bronco Nation. Trevin Dorius transferred over from Utah State. At one point in time, Tim Duryea recruited Dorius to Utah State, and I will remind you that Duryea has now been at Boise State for 6 years.
Oh, boy.
When you combine the fact that Dorius went on a mission, the COVID year, it's been a little while since he's been in high school.
Yeah.
Nice feed down low. Cam Martin, incredible pass, but the true freshman can't handle it. It's out of bounds off of Andrew Meadow. Knotted up at 12. With about 12 minutes to go here in the first half.
Broncos again, man-to-man, and they don't change that up very often. Oh, good play by Utah Valley. Again, at the rim.
Active hands by Boise State on defense. They're able to come away with the steal. The spin move by Meadow. Count the bucket and the foul.
Oh, the Broncos might have got away with one here, but Jay, you and I talked before the game. Andrew Meadow, it's time for him to kind of get going a little bit. What a great play by 13 here. Nice spin move. Great play.
Had a really quiet game at Washington State. Boise State's bench this year undoubtedly deeper than it has been in a very, very long time, but they still are finding their rhythm a little bit. Tim Duryea told me it was kind of a mysterious thing that happened this last game against Washington State. The bench, only 2 combined points, Brian, and it's guys like Andrew Meadow, R.J. Keene, those wing players that they really need to come off the bench and make an immediate impact, and we see that out of Meadow again as he comes away with a steal.
Oh, Meadow playing a little point guard right now. I like it.
Jace Whiting going to attack. The running floater high off the glass.
Really
Misses off the front of the rim.
Yeah, good take, though, by Jace.
Toulson to Stone Carrawell. Down to Dorius. He's going to get fouled again. Trevin Dorius making an impact for Utah Valley early in this game. He has a team-high 4 points. Going to have a chance to add to that at the free throw line when we're back. Coming into this season, Boise State men's basketball coach Leon Rice called this a super team. And a big reason why was the talent and depth he has been able to establish and bring off the bench. And we're seeing the youngest guy of the group, true freshman Andrew Meadow, making a big impact early, Brian.
Yeah, he really is. And Andrew Meadow is going to have a great career at Boise State. The coaching staff absolutely loves this kid. He just can hurt you so many different ways offensively, and then defensively. He just gives it 100% energy every time down the court. He's off to a good start, Jay.
One of those guys, just kind of a flat-line player, too. Plays a motionless basketball at times. Dorius gets the first free throw to fall.
Boy, Dorius looks like that prototypical Utah State big guy, though, too, doesn't he? It seems like they've always got 2 of those guys.
Big 7-footer, misses the second free throw. Still 5 early points for him to lead the Wolverines. Here comes Tyson Degenhart, down low, backing his way in. A rough shooting night a week ago against Washington State. Misses that one, but it's Cam Martin off the weak side with the tip in.
Yeah, Degenhart doesn't have many off shooting nights. He will not have more than a couple a season. He's about as consistent as a player as you're ever going to see. He's going to get his before the night's over.
Had a tough time against Washington State, like I said. Still had a double-double, 12 points, 10 rebounds, his 3rd double-double as a college basketball player. The kick out, the long 3, misses. Over the back, it's going to be Dorius that pokes it away as he was battling with Cam Martin for that rebound. Boise State's done a much better job on the defensive glass after a few early offensive rebounds by Utah Valley.
Boy, Drake Allen got by his guy, had about a 10-footer off the backboard, and not sure why he just didn't kiss that thing right in the hoop. Man-to-man by Utah Valley again.
Cam Martin, an excellent facilitator for a big man. Can really pass the basketball. Thinks about shooting it again. Going to blow by the 7-footer. Puts him in the spin cycle and finishes with the finger roll.
Dorius took the bait again on the pump fake by Martin.
Boise State out to a 6-point advantage. Their largest lead of the game. But that's Toulson leaving it for Dorius, who rocks the rim on the alley-oop.
Boy, Toulson only a freshman. He's going to give Utah Valley some good minutes in the next few years.
This guy's the X factor. It's just a matter of how quickly he can grow up. If you look at anybody on this Utah State roster that could just go off and get you 28, 30 points, he has such an explosive quality to his offensive game. And here you can see getting his big 7-footer involved right at the basket.
Max Rice back in for the Broncos. Good minutes for Jace Whiting.
Boise State really getting their bench involved early. A lot of rotations 10 minutes into this game.
A little bit of a mismatch down low. Oh, Martin.
Pump fake again by Cam. Roddy into the lane, gets trapped on the baseline, out for Cam Martin. Again, thinking about it. Now he's going to go down low. Tyson Degenhart.
That was a great entry pass by Cam Martin. Left-handed little bounce pass into the lane. Broncos lead 21-15.
The game just comes so naturally to Cam Martin. Leads this Boise State men's basketball team in assists. I don't know how many fives are leading their teams in assists in all of college basketball, but Cam Martin certainly has that to offer for the Broncos. Grady guarded by Degenhart. Degenhart just rips it right out of his hands. Boise State running on the break. Degenhart going to go up with it, misses.
A little bit of a flat tire there on that last step, but a great play by Degenhart.
Utah Valley able to push quickly the other way. Grady, ball poked away again. Another turnover for Utah Valley. Here comes Roddy Anderson over to Max Rice. Thinks about the three. Instead, going to pull it back out. The pass to Degenhart with the little hook shot from the baseline.
Great play by Roddy Anderson. 3 weeks ago, he would have put his head down and pounded it right into trouble. He backed it out. Bucket for the Broncos.
Has the potential to be such a big-time player, only in his second year of college basketball and his first as a Bronco. Ooh, nice little touch off the back end of the iron, up, down, and in for Lenhart as he scores for the first time tonight.
Yeah, Jay, we've heard so much about the mid-range game for Utah State, but we haven't seen much of it. They're passing a lot of those up.
Cam Martin's going to take it. A little long.
Well, he's got to keep him honest.
Quality minutes for the Kansas transfer tonight so far. Good defense by Chibuzo Abo. Loose ball on the floor. Cam Martin's trying to get it. Instead, it's Tyson Degenhart that comes away with it.
Great
Roddy
pass.
Anderson pushing. Cam Martin off the glass by Max Rice. Couple of milestones to keep track of tonight. Both Tyson Degenhart and Max Rice closing in on the 1,000 career point club as college basketball players suiting up in the blue and orange. Max now 7 points away from joining that exclusive company. Ball poked away. Foul is going to go against the Broncos. Boise State leading early here at ExtraMile Arena. Utah Valley coming off arguably their best season in program history. Went 28-9, made it all the way to the NIT semifinals before eventually getting bounced there. But so much newness to this roster. They only returned 2 players off that squad. They also lost their head coach, Mark Madsen, accepting the job at Cal. Tony Phillips, in his first year as the official leader of this team, spent the previous 4 seasons as an assistant coach at Utah Valley.
Well, you talk to other coaches a lot. Everybody respects Coach Phillips. And, Jay, he's from Boise, Idaho as well.
Exactly. Him and his wife, Bobby, right. Over on the other bench, Leon Rice, beginning his 14th season here at Boise State. A .635 winning percentage, 2-time Mountain West Coach of the Year. He's led Boise State to 2 regular season Mountain West championships, 1 in the tournament as well. Kind of becoming Mr. Mountain West, if you will, Brian. He has 131 career victories in conference play in the Mountain West. That is second most all-time to Steve Fisher, the legend himself, who has 168. Leon only a couple years away from maybe passing
all-time
Fisher.
winningest coach in Boise State history, and certainly down the road, a Hall of Fame inductee for Boise State University. There goes Andrew Meadows, the freshman. We should talk about him more often, Jay.
Boise State's lead up to 10. They have made 6 out of their last 8 field goal attempts. The Broncos finding a nice little rhythm offensively as Lenhart leans into a 3 but misses. Roddy Anderson with the defensive rebound, pushing up over half court. Caught on the baseline, stepped on the baseline, turnover by the Broncos.
Took 1 dribble too many. Could have stopped a little early.
Try to get that reverse pivot, try to find a little bit of help. Unfortunately, was unable to do so. 6 turnovers for Boise State here with 7 minutes to go in the first half. Utah Valley Some really nice, patient offensive possessions early. They've gone a little dry, though, on the offensive end of the court here as Boise State's ratcheted it up a little bit defensively.
Yeah, I think that's the key, Jay. Boise State's really just a lot more energy this last 5 minutes.
That's McCallahan with a nice little turnaround as breaks a bit of a scoring drought for Utah Valley, pulls the Wolverines back to within 8 with 6:45 to go here in the first half. Boise State with most of their starting lineup back in. Chibuzo Abo on the bench. The true freshman Andrew Meadows still in the game. Here comes Tyson Degenhart backing his way and spinning into the key. Gets fouled.
You can kind of see it in Tyson's face on some possessions where he just kind of he gets the ball and it's like, I'm gonna go get a bucket. I'm gonna go get a bucket. There's not much you can do about it.
I'll bring up the Washington State game again before we leave it. In the past, he had 12 points and 10 rebounds, his third career double-double, but he was only 3 of 13 shooting. Tyson's one of the more efficient players offensively, not just on Boise State's roster, but really in the Mountain West Conference. And, was told by the coaching staff that Tyson didn't really respond the way that they're so used to, and it was a really hard one for him considering the opponent and the fact that game was played in Spokane, which is his hometown. Now, I was also told by the coaching staff that Tyson's going to bounce back with a little fire in his belly. Had a great look this week in practice, and you could kind of see right there, Brian, that fire beginning to flare up on that drive to the hole as Tyson converts both free throws to push Boise State's lead back out to 10.
Yeah, Jay, Michael Jordan wasn't perfect every night, right? I mean, everybody's going to have their minute, but how do you bounce back is the key.
Tyson now just 2 points away from joining the 1,000-point club here at Boise State. Tough shot, well short of the rim. Max Rice thinks about a three, going to dribble in. An up and under move layup for Max.
That's a playground shot right there. Max made it look really simple.
Max with 9 points, a game high on 4 of 5 shooting, a number of those coming off of layups. Only 1 of 1 from 3. Boise State hasn't shot a ton of threes tonight. Nice take by Toulson. Dorius tries to follow with the offensive putback, can't. Now you have Roddy Anderson pushing. Going to try this one himself. Misses. Offensive rebound by Degenhart. They move it around. Now it's Meadow attacking. Up and in. And he's going to get called for the charge this time.
Oh, boy. I think the official out here on the sideline was about to call something else.
You could maybe see him, just leaves the screen. I'm right there with you, Brian.
He had a different opinion on that one, but it's not going to matter what we think, Jay.
Looks like we are going to have a timeout on the floor for Utah State as both teams are going to go over and gather at their benches. Both of these teams trying to bounce back off of losses. Both of them happened prior to Christmas break. Boise State lost on a neutral court against Washington State, which was more of a home game for the Cougs. One went right down to the wire. Boise State lost 66-61. They had a chance to tie it with 19 seconds to go, but couldn't get that free to fall. 9 ties in that game, 10 lead changes in that contest. Boise State and Washington State have played each other each and every year over the last 3 years. That was the Cougs' first win over the Broncos. As for Utah Valley, they are also coming off a loss. This one happened on December 20th to Liberty, got the best of the Wolverines. 79-63. It snapped their own 11-game home winning streak, which was the 11th longest in the country. Osiris Grady had one of his better games as a member of Utah Valley in that contest with a career-high 16 points. So back underway, out of the timeout, Boise State up to a 12-point advantage, and they create yet another turnover. That is now 7 turnovers for Utah Valley. Max Rice draws some contact as he tries to hit the floater.
How many points is Max away? Did we say 2? 5.
He's
5
5. Tyson Degenhart is 2. It has never happened before that 2 Boise State men's basketball players on the same night have eclipsed the 1,000-point mark. A chance for it to happen tonight as Max, an 83% free throw shooter on the season, hits the first. He also now goes into double figures with 10 points tonight. Max is an interesting story. You know, he's a sixth-year senior, as competitive as anyone that has ever suited up for the Broncos, and has very high expectations of himself. I feel like sometimes he might be a little tough on himself, too.
Well, you know, coach's kid. He's since he's been in diapers, he's lived with that.
Right.
I think he's probably seen the stress and the frustration of living with a coach his whole life. And, yeah, he has high expectations, and he has just gotten so much out of his career here at Boise State. I mean, he has given the fans here some amazing moments.
I go back over time, and in terms of guys that have, you know, pulled every single ounce of talent out of him, you think of like Ryan Watkins, even a guy like Jeff Oloriaga back in the day. But, man, Max Rice is right up there with anybody, playing in his 140th career game as a Bronco tonight. Omar Stanley, count the bucket and the foul. Stanley gets the layup and a trip to the free throw line.
Boy, and another great entry pass by Martin. You'll see it here. And then Stanley just said, this is a bucket for me, guys.
Boise State beginning to extend their lead. They've made 4 out of their last 5 field goal attempts. They're on an 8-0 run over the last 1 minute and 47 seconds.
With a 16-point lead, I mean, it came pretty quickly, Jay. I mean, Utah Valley, in the first 5 minutes of the game really looked very competitive.
And now Boise State's going to take a quick little timeout following the free throw. A 9-0 run. What's impressed you about the way Boise State has handled this, Brian? It feels like early on, you know, Utah Valley got to them a little bit with what they were doing on defense, and the Broncos have been super patient, shown a lot of maturity, and they've just let the game come to them, with the true freshman Andrew Meadow kind of providing the spark somewhere amongst the middle of it all.
Yeah, impressed with how they made early adjustments, right, in the first 3 or 4 minutes of the game, but then offensively on just how simple they've kept it, right? They're not out there launching threes from all over the place. It's inside, it's dribble penetration, it's kick, it's the three when you have it. They've kept their offense very simple.
Boise State picked to finish second in the Mountain West preseason poll, received 4 first-place votes. San Diego State, who played for the national championship last year, was picked to finish in first. But Boise State, coming off a 24-10 season, they went 13-5 in Mountain West Conference play, made their second straight NCAA tournament. And the thing about this team, it's really tough to compare different, teams year to year, but it feels like you look at the pieces of them as Omar Stanley goes up and gets the rejection. Dorius, able to get the loose ball, goes right back up and dunks it himself. Nice little exchange right there between these two teams. But just to finish that thought, Brian, it feels like this team's ceiling is as high as it has ever been, maybe even higher than last year's team that went to the NCAA tournament. And it's because of guys like Omar Stanley and Roddy Anderson when you package them in with the big three that returns.
Yeah, deeper bench for sure, and that was one of the issues last year. And I'm sure we'll talk about the Mountain West Conference before this night is over, but the league is stacked.
Under 4 minutes to go, Boise State with a 17-point advantage over Utah Valley. The Broncos trying to push their winning streak to 21 straight. And, well, Dorius is going to have something to say about that. Another dunk for him, his third of the ball game. He now has 11 points, which is tied for a game high.
Yeah, maybe a career night here for Dorius, but he's had some easy, good looks. Boom.
I'm telling you, when Max Rice is feeling it, the moment he lets it go, you can tell. Had a good feeling about that one as he rattles it home to extend Boise State's lead back up to 18. And by the way, with that bucket, Max Rice is now the latest member of the 1,000-point club here at Boise State, the 33rd member of the Broncos' 1,000-point club. A big milestone moment for Max Rice, joining the 1,000-point club as a Bronco. Check this out. Max Rice joining the 1,000-point club at Boise State, the 33rd Bronco all-time to reach that milestone. An incredible career for the kid that Leon Rice refers to simply as 12.
Or son as well. Max really, coming out of high school, I think if you'd have told anybody that Max Rice was going to score 1,000 points in his career. Nobody would have taken that bet, but what a great job by Max Rice.
A game-high 14 points on 5 of 6 shooting. He's 2 of 2 from 3 in 15 minutes of action. Omar Stanley at the free throw line. Trying to finish off this free throw attempt at the front end of a 1-and-1. He gets to fall off the front end of the iron. Chance for Boise State to push their lead out to 20.
Yeah, Jay, I kind of didn't see this coming, quite honestly. Man, I kind of felt like the coaching staff of Boise State was a little kind of nervous, a little bit. Maybe that's just how they are every game, but it seemed a little more.
A December 29th game, a few days after Christmas. You always kind of have to wonder how your team is going to respond, but I think the Broncos are showing their maturity responding tonight. Good defense by Tyson. The kick out to Toulson. The miss. Abo battling down low for the rebound. The Broncos are going to get the ball.
But we talk about Max Rice's offense and the 1,000 points, but he's really done a nice job defensively on Toulson tonight. Toulson's struggling to get shots.
Only 3 points on only 3 shot attempts in 16 minutes. Toulson's barely left the court. Only 3 shot attempts for him so far. A rare mistake there by Boise State as Stanley throws the ball out of bounds looking for Abo. Stanley having himself a night. After 23 points the last game, he's already up to 12 this game. You look at this last stretch of basketball for him. The last 4 games, he's averaging 14 points, shooting 65%, 7.5 rebounds, almost 4 offensive rebounds per game to go along with the block and a half. Really becoming a great two-way player for Boise State.
Yeah, he's really just catching his stride. And, Boise State needs him to catch his stride as they get into conference play.
Toulson creates the turnover, was trying to hunt for a shot. Instead, he gives it up. Callahan to Grady, a good feed, misses. That's Degenhart that contests the shot. The battle for the rebound goes in favor of Utah Valley.
Yeah, Utah Valley is they're struggling to get shots. Again, the adjustment Boise State made early defensively is worked. I mean, they're not letting them get to the rim.
A 3 rattles in and out by Dowdy. Utah Valley now 0 for 6 on 3-point attempts. Meanwhile, Boise State 4 for 6 on 3-point attempts. You love the efficiency. Not normally the volume we see out of the Broncos, but hard to argue with what they're doing on offense, shooting 61.5% overall as a team. Here comes Degenhart baseline. So dangerous in the low block. Misses it short, but he was fouled, and that's why.
Little tip on the wrist there on that baby hook. Tyson Degenhart will shoot 2.
Some big free throws coming up here for Tyson Degenhart. He gets 2, exactly 2 points shy of 1,000 for his career. My personal belief, if he continues to do what he's done over these last 2+ seasons, he will leave Boise State as arguably or not arguably the greatest Bronco of all time.
Boy, he's got a chance. I think Tanaka Beard is still the all-time leading scorer of Boise State, and he was a good one. But
Tyson 2 for 2 in NCAA tournaments. Never been done in back-to-back years in this fashion before at Boise State. Unfortunately, he missed the front end of that free throw. Rattles that one off the front end of the iron, off the back end of the iron, and down through the hoop. 999 career points for Tyson Degenhart.
Again, Utah Valley really just struggling to get into anything right now. Boise State doing a good job, taking away the dribble handoffs, taking away penetration. .112 to go, Jay. What's the chance that Degenhart gets his 1,000th in the first half?
We'll see if he can put it away here before halftime. Utah Valley jumped out to a 9-5 lead in this game. So Boise State only on a healthy 40-15 run ever since trailing by 4 early in the contest.
Boy, it kind of came out of nowhere. All of a sudden, it looked like a tight game, and you looked up, and they were up 15. And again, they just kept it real simple.
The calendar is about to flip to January. Excuse me. I'll get ahead of myself here. I wish it was the summer months, but with the calendar about to flip to January, this is a month where Boise State has historically really turned it on. So we take another look at this. The officials looking at this foul in a review. We'll sort it out after they sort it out. But the Broncos have won at a 938 clip. 93.8% of their games in the month of January over the last 2 years combined. That is the best winning percentage in the month of January.
Wow.
Of any team in the country.
Well, if you're a Bronco fan, let's hope that continues, because you've got San Jose State, Colorado State, Nevada, UNLV, San Diego State, Fresno State, New Mexico, and Utah State, who's come out of nowhere.
Yeah, you're exactly right. And even look at the next few games coming up for Boise State. Gosh, they are going to be tested. Mountain West play again begins on January 5th. They go to San Jose State, but after that, they come back here to face a top 25 Colorado State squad that's 11-1 on the season. We'll be back here on Channel 7 for that contest, and then after that, it's off to Nevada. The Wolfpack, 12-1 this season. UNLV only 5-5, but they were picked to finish in the top half of the preseason poll in the Mountain West Conference standings. And then, after that, you get to host San Diego State, the defending national runners-up at the NCAA tournament.
Yeah, like it's about to get real, Jay. I mean, it's always real, but it's about to get very real here in a week or so.
Again, the officials still sorting this out, but Boise State has done a great job of testing themselves in the preseason. We want to talk about the net effect, a metric that helps measure everybody's strength of schedule, how good they are. A lot pours into that. But Boise State's average opponent net ranking of 104 is tied for the fourth best in the NCAA. The Broncos are going to roll into the season tested before Mountain West Conference play. And there's going to be a whole lot more tests to come in Mountain West Conference play. But tied with North Carolina on this graphic here.
Yeah, and I think the coaching staff at Boise State has done it right. They've done that on purpose. I mean, they played San Francisco, Clemson, Virginia Tech, VCU, Butler, St. Mary's. They've had a tough schedule, and it's not going to get a lot easier.
You look at a number of teams on this graphic too: Purdue, Arizona, North Carolina. I'm a top 25 AP voter. These are teams that have been in my top 20, top 15, some of them in the top 5 all season long. When you talk about Arizona and Purdue, big reason why they've been so successful is that they've played in these tournaments. They've gone all the way to the end of it, and they've really tested themselves. So we're starting to sort this thing out. There is a okay. Wow, we have a heck of a call coming up against Kamani Dowdy here. He is going to be ejected from the game. A flagrant 2 foul is going to go against him. We'll call it a low blow against Chibuzo Abo.
Yeah, now the official just said number 2.
Okay.
Degenhart. It's in the rule. Shot to the groin. Automatic ejection.
So Dowdy is going to take an early exit from this game. He's had a quiet night so far, 0 of 2 from the floor. He's been scoreless in 8 minutes of action. Entered this game averaging 7 points per game in slightly over 18 minutes of action an evening. Had a season-high 15 points and 3 assists in a road win at Sam Houston State way back on December 9th. Will we give you a look right there?
Yeah, boy, I don't know. Incidental contact, maybe.
A costly call sends Dowdy to the locker room early tonight. Stone Carrawell going to go to the free throw line because there also was a foul on that play against Boise State.
Right, now Boise State will get to pick a shooter. We'll shoot free throws at the other end, most likely, after Carrawell knocks down this other one.
The officials continuing to sort this one out. Meanwhile, Stone Carrawell came into the night averaging 12.6 points per game, a team best. goes 1 of 1 at the free throw line as he continues to struggle a bit offensively. Only 3 points for him so far. Now we'll go back to the other end of the floor for the flagrant 2 free throws. Shabuzo Abo. Gets into the scoring column.
Yeah, I thought you were going to say that, which is highly unusual. Boise State's leading scorer and about having the most consistent, incredible season you could ever imagine for a Bronco. On the board with 1.
15.8 points per game, a team high. He's shooting 45.8% from 3. That's best in the Mountain West, 12th nationally. But he's on the board. Degenhart. Yeah, that's going to be goaltending.
Well, Utah Valley tried to mix their defense up that time.
And what a way to go over 1,000 career points.
I think Tyson will take it. I think he'll take it.
Good thing it won't be his final bucket. But Tyson Degenhart, the 34th member of the 1,000-point club here at Boise State, backing his way down low, tries to go for a layup. Utah Valley whistled for a goaltend.
Boy, and Degenhart did it quick. I mean, 2.5 seasons. Hey, this one's going in anyway, even if he doesn't goaltend it. I mean, that's going in the bucket.
You know what? Boise State does an unbelievable job with their video production crew. And I know that they wanted that one so bad to be something that would show off how good they are at video production. But unfortunately, that one's just going to be a tough one to demonstrate. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah, how many times can you replay that as Tyson Degenhart's 1,000th point?
Again, the good news, Tyson has so many more milestones in front of him. He hasn't even started conference play in his junior year, and he has already got to 1,000 points. Heck, at this pace, 2,000, not completely out of question.
Really not, really not. And I would guarantee you that Degenhart has no idea he just scored his 1,000th point. He doesn't think about those things.
He's just looking up at the scoreboard right now, likes what he sees up there. Grady gets the offensive rebound off the missed free throw. Toulson rattles in Utah Valley's first 3 of the night.
Boy, Toulson finally got a good look.
Nice little rhythm shot for here. We'll see if it gets him going. Utah Valley bringing pressure here with under 35 seconds to go in the first half.
Yeah, we kept waiting for all these adjustments on defense and different looks, and we really haven't seen many, Jay.
Feels like Boise State's just been one step ahead of the game. Gonna hold. The shot clock down under 10. RJ Keene, a high arcing bank shot, misses. Utah Valley gonna have a last chance here to cut into the deficit before halftime. Toulson, a rhythm 3.
Looks like they're gonna call a foul on Rice on Toulson on this 3.
Another look at it here.
Oh.
They're going to give Toulson 3 free throw attempts with 4 seconds to go. Bronco Nation letting the officials have it.
Extra Miles getting a little extra right now on that call.
Section 12 up there. A big part of the home court advantage that has been established here at ExtraMile Arena. The Fatheads are out. I can only wonder when Brian King's glorious dome is added to Section 12.
Boy, let's hope never. Let's hope never. They could get rid of my gray hair maybe if they made a Fathead.
4 seconds to go. Max Rice with it, dribbling up over half court. Going to launch from half court, but it falls short. An otherwise stellar first half for the Boise State men's basketball team. They take a 17-point advantage into the break. Well, one of the oldest members of the Boise State men's basketball program and one of the newest members fueling Boise State's offensive explosion here against Utah Valley. 48 first-half points for the Broncos as they have built a healthy 17-point lead over the Wolverines. Omar Stanley, 12 points on 4 of 6 shooting to go along with 4 rebounds and a block. Tim Duryea said that this is the guy that will make a massive difference for them. He needs to be a huge part of Mountain West Conference play. Could be a key piece to their success once they tip things off on January 5th against San Jose State.
Yeah, new addition to the Broncos squad and a great addition. It takes any new player a little bit of time to kind of figure it out. Omar Stanley is catching his stride. He's going to make a massive difference in Mountain West Conference play.
The thing that I find interesting about Omar, when he was at St. John's, his role wasn't always defined. Tim Duryea said that they have a saying here at Boise State: learn the system, and the system will set you free. He is playing confident. He is playing fast. The game is slowing down. The same could be said for Max Rice with a massive milestone moment. He has a game-high 14 points, and earlier tonight he became a member of the 1,000-point club here at Boise State.
Yeah, and the game has slowed down for Max as well. I mean, tonight especially, he's just kept it really simple. If he's open, he knocks down the 3. If they come at him, he puts it on the deck and gets to the rim. You don't want to foul him because he's an 84% free throw shooter, so that's a mistake. Congratulations to Max Rice, 1,000 points in his career.
Came in as a shooter, showing he is a complete offensive package tonight. He's got a pair of 3s. He's 5 of 6 shooting overall, 14 points. Boise State as a team shooting 60.7%. 12 of their 17 made field goals have been right at the bucket, either a layup or a dunk. Second half coming up next here from ExtraMile Arena as Boise State continues to cruise. You know, you look at the stat sheet here, and Boise State has to be happy with what they're doing offensively. 48 first-half points, 26 points in the paint. They forced turnovers, and they have taken advantage of those opportunities. 13 points off turnovers for the Broncos. We give you a look at the halftime stats. Again, 60.7% shooting for the Broncos, 67% from 3 for the Broncos, 83% from the free throw line. And after some early struggles on the defensive glass, Boise State has cleaned up everything on that end of the floor.
Yeah, they really have, Jay. Early adjustments. They worked. 20 rebounds already. And the Broncos offensively have made it look simple. I mean, we talked about Stanley and Rice, obviously. Tyson Degenhart, again, his quiet 9 to start the first half. But interesting, Abo with only 1. My guess is he gets a few more of the second half.
I would agree with you there. Tyson Degenhart always finds a way to impact the game. Like you said, just kind of a ho-hum, quiet 9 points to go along with 3 rebounds in 14 minutes of action. And by the way, when we look at these stats, there is some significance to them because when Utah Valley has a better shooting percentage than their opponent, they're 5-0 on the season. When they out-rebound their opponent, they're 4-1 on the season. So Boise State, kind of the kryptonite so far of what the Wolverines do well. Second half coming up, Brian. What does the Boise State basketball team need to do to wrap up 2023 and build some confidence going into Mountain West Conference play?
Defend, rebound, take care of the basketball. Roddy Anderson needs to continue just to play consistent and get the ball to the guys around him. If he does that, he's going to end up scoring himself as well.
Boise State 20 minutes away from winning their 21st straight game here at ExtraMile Arena. That would tie the longest home winning streak in all of college basketball. We are back with the second half live from ExtraMile Arena right after this. Well, the Broncos have a chance to head into Mountain West Conference play with a victory. Up 17 with 20 minutes to go against Utah Valley. I am so excited about Mountain West Conference play. This league gets better and better, deeper and deeper every single year. And once again this year, the league is going to be an absolute gauntlet, Brian.
Gosh, Jay, it really is. I mean, you watch these teams on TV and, you know, look at Utah State down there. Picked to finish 9th. Utah State 12-1. New coaching staff. Danny Sprinkle is getting it done. Andy Hill, his top assistant. 12-1, an 11-game winning streak, and they're picked to finish 9th.
I mean, that's a roster that was basically completely rebuilt when they had a coaching change. 12-1 on the season. Not the only 12-1 team in the league. Nevada, maybe they've played a little bit of a softer non-conference schedule, but hey, the Wolfpack sit at 12-1. New Mexico on a 10-game winning streak themselves. They're 11-1. Colorado State, maybe the best of the bunch, and they were picked to finish 5th in the league. Isaiah Stevens will contend for Mountain West Player of the Year. Guys like Tyson, Degenhart, and Chibuzo Abo are going to have something to say in that conversation, but the league is shaping up to be incredibly difficult. And oh yeah, by the way, we haven't even mentioned San Diego State yet.
That's exactly right. 10-2. We know how well they're coached. We can already tell you what the team's going to look like when they run on the field. They look the same for 20 years. Athletic, long, strong guards. I can't wait for this conference season to start.
I think the thing that stands out to me too, Brian, San Diego State, New Mexico, Nevada, Colorado State, Utah State, all of those places have incredible home court advantages to go along with what the Broncos are creating here. You go out on the road, good luck this year in the Mountain West.
Jay, could we see a team that wins the conference that has 4 or 5 losses? 6 losses?
I think the parity in the league this year would suggest that definitely could be capable. That definitely could be something that could happen this year. We show you, we roll out Boise State's Mountain West schedule coming up here over the next month or so. As I mentioned earlier, Brian, this is a stretch of the season where the Broncos over the last 2 years have really connected, but they will be tested with this schedule.
Yeah, it gets real, and it gets real on January 5th. And the great thing about January in Boise, Idaho, there's no more football.
Yep.
And it's all about basketball. This place will be rocking.
There is no team, I'm going to repeat this, there is no team in all of college basketball that has won at a higher rate in the month of January than the team you're watching on the floor tonight wearing the blue and orange. We're back with the second half here at ExtraMile Arena after this. Well, Boise State playing with a tremendous pace and a tremendous rhythm on offense. 48 first half points, shooting 60.7% as a team. Max Rice leading the way with 14 points. Not far behind him, Omar Stanley with a dozen on 4 of 6 shooting. Tyson Degenhart 1 point away from jumping into double digits. He has 9 on 3 of 6 shooting, and the bench has had a nice presence. Andrew Meadow and Cam Martin have combined for 12 points. We talked about this earlier, Brian. The bench, they didn't have much of a presence in the loss at Washington State back on December 21st. But each of those guys really impacting this game, coming in and not coming in lathered up, ready to go, if you will, right?
Yeah, just made the plays that they were supposed to make. And, Jace Whiting came in and gave really some quality minutes as well. And that's a kid who's shooting 63% from the three-point line. He takes shots he knows he can make. The bench will be critical as this conference season starts.
This is the 8th all-time meeting between Utah Valley and Boise State. Boise State leads the all-time series 6-1. They've won 5 straight, threatening to make it 6 straight over the Wolverines. And the one coincidence here is Boise State looks to push their winning streak to 21 straight. The winning streak here at home started against Utah Valley back in November 2022. The Broncos won 87-69 to begin this winning streak. Omar Stanley! Oh my!
Boy, Jay, that was a great set. It didn't work exactly how they drew it up, but what a great pass by Max Rice.
Great way to start the second half for the Broncos.
Rice on Toulson again.
Little floater, Grady misses. Rebound, Stanley. 5 rebounds for Stanley. If he can get it done on the defensive glass here in the second half, might threaten another double-double. Max Rice dribbling down low, going at Toulson.
He's got a little, he thinks he's Degenhart down in there. Just backs him in. Little jump hook by Rice. Jay, you said it earlier. When Max kind of hits one, he starts hitting a bunch of them.
I feel like that's the strategy. Any way, shape, or form, get Max Rice an early bucket, and it's like game over. Nice feed by McCallahan down low as Dorius continues to have a big night for Utah Valley. Right when Bronco Nation thought they got rid of this guy, he transfers over. They see him again. He's got 13 points, 3 rebounds on 5 of 7 shooting. Max Rice working it out to the top of the key again. Going to dribble it off, handle it off to Roddy Anderson. 5 on the shot clock. Stanley tries the deep 2. Abo with the offensive board, tries the floater and gets it to fall.
Abo wasn't passing that, Jay. No chance. He knew he only had 1 in the first half. He's going to go get a few buckets.
That's now 3 points for Boise State's leading scorer, and yet they lead by 21. Abo tries to come down low, come up with the steal, gets a little too much of Dorius for the foul. 32 points in the paint for Boise State tonight.
Yeah, they've just outmanned them, right? I mean, first-year coach, first-year players, haven't had time to completely rebuild the roster, and Boise State has really just manhandled them down low.
I was told that Dorius is a little bit of an underrated offensive player, and that's mostly because of what he does on the defensive end. 20 blocked shots this season, averaging almost 2 a game. What he does on defense gets attention, not necessarily what he does on offense. An underrated player. Well, he continues to try to carry this Utah Valley scoring load tonight.
Yeah, and how about a 7-footer who's got a 78% free throw percentage?
Nice,
I mean,
little
he's got
touch
a
there,
nice
right?
stroke, smooth stroke by the big fella.
Here comes Max. Nice bounce pass. Down low for another dunk from Omar Stanley.
Again, set up by Rice's penetration and a great little bounce pass into the paint.
16 points for Omar Stanley. Tough time trying to body up Dorius. He's going to get a chance to complete another 3-point play.
Boy, and talk about a great pass. I don't know if we're going to see that again, but McCallahan, that was a set play off a high ball pick and just laid it up there from the big fella. There we see Stanley.
Dorius completes the 3-point play. A game-high 17 points for the 7-footer. Andrew Meadow going to check back in. Abo going to take a breather.
3 fouls on Abo. He's going to get a chance to rest here a little bit. Oh, Stanley really had him sealed down low.
Roddy thinks about it. Going to go in, gets tripped.
And we talked about this earlier, Jay, but Roddy Anderson is such a critical component as we enter this conference season. And you know this conference is full of great guards, right? And they're going to bring pressure against Boise State. They're going to test him.
Meadow going to test this one. Try to test the hot hand that he had in the first half.
Meadow's kind of laughing at himself, I think, a little bit. That's okay. Hey, heat check. You got to shoot those once in a while.
McCallahan dribbling it up over half court. Utah Valley going to set in to their half court offense here. Dorius with the handoff. McCallahan guarded by Roddy Anderson. McCallahan trying to get it down low to Dorius. Can't. Instead it's Stone. Carrawell that misses the 3.
And Boise State's just doing a great job defensively of keeping the ball on the perimeter.
Yeah.
They have cut down all penetration into the paint.
Utah Valley now 1 of 8 shooting from 3. Stone Carrawell, like I said, their leading scorer coming into the game. He's another guy that if he can find some success early in the game, can really sustain that throughout a game. Hasn't had that tonight.
Boy, a really good take by Anderson. He just forgot he had the long 7-footer right on his heels.
Yeah, I mentioned Dorius is known for altering shots, averaging 1.7 per game this season.
Boy, and I thought Roddy just had an easy bucket right there. He made a great play and Big fella came right in behind and swatted it.
Stone Carrawell takes it into the lane. Going to be a foul that goes against the true freshman. Well, how about Omar Stanley providing us with some highlight reel dunks tonight here at Extra Mile. Omar Stanley, a transfer from St. John's, continues to show off how he is quickly developing as a member of the Boise State men's basketball team. 23 points last game, 16 points, tied for a team high tonight. He has scored at least 12 points in 4 of his last 6 games, and he's also an incredible defensive rebounder. 5 rebounds, and oh yeah, he is a human highlight reel when it comes to finishing at the rim. I think the thing that is so intriguing about Omar is the fact that he's finally getting a chance to really develop, right? I mentioned earlier in the broadcast, his role wasn't necessarily defined at St. John's. Sometimes he'd be running the break and he'd be out on the wing, you know, for those guys. And here, he is the inside-out presence that can really help amplify this offense. And Boise State's thrown a ton at him. The game is slowing down, but they have really asked him to focus on some of his technique as well as game prep, things that he necessarily wasn't asked to do, at least the level that he's currently doing them at his previous school.
Yeah, and this coaching staff at Boise State, I mean, they hang their hat on developing players. And we've seen it rapidly with Stanley. I mean, Overland Park, Kansas should be really, really proud of this kid because he's having a great season, but he's going to be called on to really do a lot of heavy lifting as this conference starts. I mean, this conference is full of big-bodied, strong athletes.
It's funny because when he transferred in, a lot of the comparisons were to Najee Smith. And for me, I almost take that a little personal there, Brian, because Najee brought so much in it. It wasn't just production. His character, his leadership was tremendous. As Max Rice throws this one out of bounds, looking for Cam Martin under the hoop. But I got to say, they actually might have found a way to upgrade that in terms of production. Omar Stanley looks like a guy that can play at an all-conference type level.
Yeah, I mean, we love Najee Smith, but Omar Stanley's he's a different type of player. And, again, that big body of his and his strength and athleticism is going to be needed in this conference.
It's all about incremental improvements for a developmental program, and you just think that that's an incremental improvement for Boise State. Chibuzo Abo, again, kind of a quiet night offensively as he goes in, lays it up. That gives him 5 points.
You know, Abo just hasn't had a lot of opportunities tonight, right?
Took the words out of my mouth.
I mean, they've kept it so simple and basic, and everybody's getting touches, and Abo can kind of go get a bucket anytime he wants, and he just did right there against Tulsa.
Gets a rebound, and now Boise State's going to push out. On the break, Cam Martin with it at the top of the key.
Don't do it, Cam.
Dumps it down low to Tyson Degenhart. He's going to get doubled for a moment. Now it's going to go one-on-one right at Grady. Yeah, that's a battle Tyson's going to win more often than not.
Good patience. Tyson was so patient. Couple of ball fakes. Let space clear. And that little baby hook is his shot.
Stone Carrawell, a tough shot, misses it short. Rebounded by Martin. Boise State kind of fighting over it there amongst themselves, but Abo able to corral it. Nice little look there by Jace. He attempts the floater, misses it short. Out of bounds off of Utah Valley. First shot attempt of the night for Jace Whiting as Utah Valley's going to make a couple of substitutions here.
Also back on the floor for the Wolverines.
Jace Whiting going to inbound it from the baseline. Out to Abo. A wide open look at a three.
I told you, he can get him in a hurry.
Chibuzo Abo just kind of waiting for that open look. Little miscommunication there by Utah Valley. He is shooting it at an elite level right now.
Yeah, Abo, if you look at his stat line, it's just about as perfect as you can get for a college basketball player.
almost 16 points per game, a little over 5 rebounds per game. Then look at his shooting efficiencies.
Yeah, 48% field goal percentage, 45% from the three-point line. I mean, there's not a player in the country who wouldn't take 45%.
Miscommunication on the inbounds. Boise State on the break. Buzo looking for Martin, turns it over. Got a foul out near midcourt. I'm going to say this stat just because I don't want to waste it, right? And the fact that Boise State Sports Information Director Nate Lowry went to incredible lengths to find this stat out. Due to their own research, Chibuzo Abo leads all of college basketball with 6 4-point plays this season. He had 4 all of last season, which seemed impressive, but Buzo taking it to new heights this year.
Well, he is the complete package. In Utah Valley, a lot of sets. Almost every possession has been some sort of a set. They're just struggling to get a look. Good move by Toolson.
Tough look. Max Rice doesn't like the call. Omar Stanley trying to corral the Broncos together. Try to simmer things down a little bit here.
I think Tanner Toolson's going to end up having a really nice career at Utah Valley. Only a freshman, transfer from BYU, legit shooter, athletic.
Appeared in 6 games for the Cougars last year, averaged 3.5 points. Again, can do it from inside and outside. He started every single game this year, all 13 for Utah Valley, averaging 10.4 points per game, 4.3 rebounds per game, almost 2 assists, a little over 1 steal per game.
When he comes from a big basketball family, big background. I believe his dad was an Idaho native. Should have come to Boise State. Actually, I'm glad he didn't, because I would have probably been competing with the same position.
There you go.
And he was better than me, so.
He could shoot it at 53% from 3?
Yep, he's a little more athletic than I was.
All right.
Might have got him on the field goal percentage, but.
2 teams exchange turnovers there. It's actually interesting you bring up the Toolson family, because for Tony Phillips, the head coach for Utah Valley, prior to his time here, he was at Salt Lake Community College for 8 seasons, actually led them to the 2016 National Championship. Tanner Toolson, yep, the familiar last name there, was the MVP of that tournament.
I did not know that. 8 on the shot clock.
Max Rice looking for some space, going to dump it down low. Cam Martin going to go to work, spins baseline, off the glass and in.
Good setup by Max Rice again. Jay, you hit the nail on the head. The game has just slowed down for Max. He's just making smart, consistent plays.
Nice little look there by another promising player for Utah Valley, Drake Allen with the layup. Transferred from Southern Utah, started all 37 games last year there.
Preseason all-conference selection, Drake Allen. We haven't seen a lot of minutes out of him tonight.
Been kind of quiet so far this evening. Allen, that was his first bucket of the night. Max back into the lane. Leaves it for Martin. He's fouled. 11:52 to go. Boise State trying to continue to put this thing away. They lead by 22. Well, we thought Boise State was looking good in the first half. They have looked even better offensively in the second half. 66.7% shooting here in the second half for the Boise State men's basketball team. They continue to get it done in the paint as well. 14 second half points down low. Overall in this game, they continue to pour it on. 40 points in the paint for the Broncos. We know they can shoot. They're showing they can be versatile on offense today.
Yeah, it's clicking on all cylinders, and they're really getting about any shot they want.
Max Rice back out to Martin.
Little mismatch down low.
Surrounded by 3 Utah Valley players, and he gets fouled.
Yeah, again, we mentioned this earlier. Utah Valley, It's going to be a nice basketball team, but it's early, right? I mean, brand new roster, brand new coach. They do look a little undersized, but they've had some really nice outings. They beat Weber State. They played Utah really tough. You wouldn't know it by the score, but they had Utah. They had Utah in trouble. They had Oregon State in trouble. This is going to be a good basketball team.
Really balanced basketball team. They got 6 guys averaging 7 points or more per game. 3 guys in double figures. They will get better as the season goes along, as they grow together. Still kind of learning some of their lineups. A sloppy play there by Boise State as Cam Martin throws it away. Broncos have played so good for the most part tonight. Looking to finish this thing strong over the last 11-15.
See Jace Whiting getting a little breather. Roddy Anderson back in for the Broncos. And Utah Valley, really quality young guards as well.
Leaves it down low. Chimunga trying to work his way up. Finishes with the left.
Boy, nice play. Nice bucket.
7-0 run here for Utah Valley as the score has been even in the second half. Boise State led by 17 at the break. They currently lead by 17. Little size advantage here. We'll see what Martin wants to do with it. Kicks it over to the corner. Roddy Anderson going to attempt a 3. Misses it, but it's Martin with the offensive board. Looking for help. He's just going to go right up with it. Gets fouled. Check that out. Going to call a jump ball, and the possession arrow goes towards Utah Valley.
Good look by Anderson in that possession. He's just got to keep firing those. I mean, he's a good enough shooter. Those will start to go down for him, but he took the right shot at the right time.
Started 27 of 30 games for UC San Diego last year. Averaged 13.1 points per game. Just in a much different role for the Broncos.
He's just going to get rung up for a foul right there. Hope we get a second look at that. Crowd does not like that one, Jay.
See what happens here.
Oh,
yeah, that
boy.
pokes that away. Looked like all ball. But Roddy picks up his 3rd foul.
Coach Rice calling for a timeout. I think he might voice his opinion to the officials right now.
It seemed like Boise State was on cruise control, but they are not ready to cruise into the night to their 21st straight victory here at home. They do lead as we head down the home stretch here at ExtraMile Arena. Boise State with 3 players in double figures tonight. Chibuzo Abo flirting with 10 points. He has 8. You look back at what he's done over these first 12 games, 189 total points. There are only a few other Broncos in the Leon Rice era that have been able to hit that point total in the first 12 games. Derek Alston, Robert Arnold, Anthony Drimmick, Derek Marks, and some guy named Chandler Hutchison, who just so happens to be in attendance tonight, Brian.
Yeah, boy, what a great. There's Zach Haney sitting next to him, another former Bronco. I saw Malik Harwell there. I saw Nick Duncan running around there. Great Broncos. That, oh, my gosh, were those some good Boise State basketball teams.
That performance that Chandler Hutchison had against San Diego State here at ExtraMile Arena, maybe the best game I've seen out of a Bronco in this arena.
Yeah, he could score a lot of points, and he could score them a lot of different ways, and in a hurry he could score points.
Boise State's going to take over on offense with a shade over 10 minutes to go.
Jay, you made a good point a minute ago. It's tie game, second half. There's a little mix-up by Utah Valley, 1-3-1 zone. Broncos adjust well. We get it to that high post. Things break down defensively if the ball gets there.
Max pump fake, leans into a 3, misses it just long. Ball tipped back out to the perimeter. Going to wind up in Max's hands again. The up and under floater. Yeah, it is all falling for Max Rice tonight. 18 points. A game high on 7 of 9 shooting for the senior out of Boise, Idaho.
By the way, that shot he made, the underhand, that is not an easy shot from 8 feet.
A guy that was just a shooter initially. Now he plays defense. He's a team leader, can score at all levels. Toulson from way out misses the three. Abo with the rebound.
Boy, a good-looking stroke, though, by Toulson.
Little missed dribble there by Abo. Max hits the floor, stays on the floor, diving for that loose ball. We'll see what happens over in the corner. Utah Valley calls a timeout. I believe the possession is going to stay with the Wolverines. A hard fall, though, by Max Rice. Kind of gingerly gets up from that thing. You can see just a bad pass from Chibuzo. Kind of lost the ball there.
A good play by Toulson. I mean, that's a bit of a slide.
Long slide.
Long slide, for sure. Heads up play, gets the timeout. Wolverines will keep possession.
Boise State has quietly pushed their lead back out to 19. As Utah Valley looks to rebuild, Trevin Dorius is a massive part of that rebuild. Check this out, averaging 8.3 points per game on the season. A team high 7.1 rebounds, and also leads the Wolverines with 20 blocks.
Yeah, he's a lot of body down there, Jay. I mean, he can alter the game a number of different ways. And a 78% free throw shooter.
7 feet tall, 255 pounds, a grad student. Playing in his final season at Utah Valley. Allen thought about a deep three. Instead, he's going to attack. Probes the defense, goes in, throws up a wild shot, and gets fouled.
Boy, Allen pretty fortunate there to get a foul out of that. He had nowhere to go. Again, we heard so much about the mid-range game, but there's no mid-range tonight. They want to get it all the way to the rim.
Allen only 2 points in 15 minutes tonight. Gets a friendly roll on the first free throw attempt. But I'm telling you, if you watch this kid play, he just feels like he's going to break through at any moment for this team. I know the stat line wouldn't necessarily back that up tonight, but I'm telling you, this kid's on the verge of becoming a big-time player for the Wolverines.
Yeah, super explosive, super athletic. A little soft pressure by Utah Valley.
Boise State breaks it relatively easily. The pass down low. Omar Stanley showing off his skills, finds a cutting Chibuzo Abo baseline for the layup, and now Buzo has 10 points. The fourth Bronco into double figures.
And not an easy pass he made there either.
He is quietly a very gifted passer, too. I'm not necessarily saying on Cam Martin's level for a big guy, but that is a part of his game that he has flashed here at Boise State. It's funny, talking with Leon Rice a little bit, says he doesn't necessarily want Stanley to get in love with that aspect because they want him to kind of be the guy that if he gets isolation down low one-on-one, he wants him to go win those battles. But if somebody doubles down, yeah, kick it out for an open three. But that wasn't a difficult pass. I should say it wasn't an easy pass.
Allen to get his second one here, 58% free throw shooter. The stroke looks a lot better than that. He's got a nice touch.
Misses that one a little short. Buzo goes up to get the rebound, and he's going to get fouled, and now we are going to head the other way. Only the fourth team foul for Utah Valley here in the second half.
A little full court pressure, a little soft by Utah Valley.
Degenhart getting downhill, goes up, loses it, but he is fouled by Chimunga.
Boy, Tyson Degenhart can hurt you so many ways. He got that at half court, turned and faced, and he was going right to the rim.
I don't know if you saw this on social media. But while Boise State was up in Spokane, they actually left a day early so they could do dinner at the Degenhart's house. They did this a couple of years ago when they played Washington State in Spokane. But UConn and Tiffany, Tyson's parents, tremendous people. Tiffany is a pro at hosting team dinners when you consider she did it when Tyson was at Mount Spokane and then now at Boise State. And, one thing that Boise State really likes about that and why they do it, they want to have a team, a family atmosphere amongst their players, and that just kind of helps establish it, right? Going up, having dinner at the Degenharts. And, by the way, apparently they have like a commercial caliber arcade in their basement.
Why does that not surprise me? But Jay, it's a good point. I mean, you get a little tired on the road of going to Sizzler, every other week. And I think that's a super nice touch, and it makes the kids feel a little more comfortable and like they're back home. This is where Stanley should go to work.
Yep.
No passes here, Omar. Go to work.
And he does. Goes baseline and gets fouled. 7.5 minutes to go. Boise State looking for win number 9 this season here at ExtraMile Arena. Well, we have been talking about it all night, but when you're threatening to be the best in the country at something, it is worth bragging about. Boise State, just 7.5 minutes away from their 21st straight win at ExtraMile Arena. And as you can see right there, it would tie the longest home winning streak in the country. Oral Roberts doesn't have a home game until early January 5th, I believe. So Boise State has a chance to tie the longest home winning streak in the country. I know that's something that Leon Rice takes so much pride in, too. Of all the cool things that he has done here at Boise State, building this into a tremendous home court advantage is something that he has been at the top of his list of priorities. I think over the last few years, he is now getting the support from the administration that he long needed.
Yeah, he really is. I mean, you can just see the difference. The last couple of years, more energy, more in-game promotions. Every quarter is fun. Every halftime is fun. And by the way, this almost 21 wins in a row, it's not like there's been a lot of cupcakes in here that they're playing, right? I mean, he has beaten good basketball teams in this arena.
When you think about some of the wins, too, the San Diego State comeback last year that seemed as improbable as anything you've ever witnessed in sport, with Max Rice leading that comeback. Omar, give him another rim rocker for number 1. Came into the game with a team leading 9 dunks on the year. He has 3 tonight alone.
Boy, who's not playing well for Boise State right now? I mean, this is really a combined team effort. Everybody's doing their part. Everybody's staying in their role. Great effort by the Broncos tonight.
Back-to-back 20-point games for Omar Stanley.
Another offensive rebound for Utah Valley.
Boise State's done a better job there ever since some early struggles. But overall, plus 16 on the glass. Only 17 total rebounds for Utah Valley compared to 33 for the Broncos. Max Rice launches another. Misses it a little strong.
Boy, his last 2 have been dead on, too. It looked like, I think he thought that was going in for sure.
Callahan looking for help, leaves it for Allen. He goes into the lane, and he's going to get fouled by Jace Whiting.
Another good take by Allen. This is an athletic kid. Good hang time. Chance to get another 2 here for Allen.
This is the final non-conference game for Utah Valley. They have already tipped off conference play, though. 2 games under their belts. In the WAC, beat Seattle U, lost at Utah Tech. They get back into action in conference play against Cal Baptist on January 4th. They'll follow that up by hosting the place that Drake Allen transferred from, Southern Utah, on January 6th.
Seems to me that this Utah Valley team could be a bit streaky. they can kind of get it going. If you don't guard them, they're going to punish you for sure. They may struggle against really good defensive teams.
It's been the case so far tonight. 38% from the floor as a team for Utah Valley, only 2 of 13 from 3.
Utah Valley showed a little 1-3-1 half-court trap. They'll fall back to a zone.
Buzo, baseline jumper, misses it long, and it's Omar Stanley, again with another offensive rebound. His 4th of the night. He's averaging 3.5 offensive rebounds per game over his last 4 games. Max Rice going to test it again. Misses it. Buzo goes up, trying to get the putback. Instead, it's going to be a less fancier one, if you will, a layup by Cam Martin. We've seen Buzo rise up. He's got some bounce. Couldn't quite get that one.
Boy, you can just see it in Buzo's eyes. I mean, he's just, the second half, he has come to play.
It's interesting because during the recent 4-game homestand, it seemed like he did all of his scoring in the first half, or at least most of it. And, you know, a real quiet scoring load or presence in the first half tonight, but we've seen him heat up here in the second half. A team-high 9 points in the second half alone, 5 rebounds, 4 of 7 shooting in 14 minutes of action here in the second half. Only had 1 point off that 1 free throw in the first half.
Yeah, and he's just so difficult to guard. I mean, he can hurt you in so many ways. And if he's not scoring, he's doing everything else.
Back to a 20-point game. Under 5 minutes to go. R.J. Keene now in for the Broncos. Cam Martin trying to get it up over half court, does, and now it's Chibuzo Abo. Had a chance at an open 3. Thinks about it again. Cam Martin tries to throw a heater down low to R.J. Keene. Ball's deflected out of bounds off of Utah Valley.
R.J. Keene getting a few minutes. Again, one of those bench players that the Broncos may need later on in the season. Good to get him some minutes.
I think when you break down the college game, there's only 40 minutes, right? If you can get 2 or 3 guys off the bench that can contribute, it's going to make you a really tough team. So Max Rice drives in, gets the bucket and the foul. But when you really start to divvy up minutes, it's probably all that's really left. You need a guy in the front court, that's Cam Martin. You need a guy in the back court, probably Jace Whiting. You also would love to have one of those wings come along in an R.J. Keene or an Andrew Meadow, and it's been Andrew Meadow tonight.
Yeah, and realistically, as you get into conference play, I mean, most coaches will boil it down to about 8 guys. I mean, about 8's the only ones that are going to get the minutes. Boy, good pass by Toulson to the big fella.
Gosh, another home game. Boise State back up over 80 points.
And Max Rice with 21. Second game this season over 20 points. 20 against Western Oregon, 21 tonight, and Max isn't done.
That's Stanley flying in, trying to get the rebound. Instead, it's R.J. Keene. Kicks it back out. Max Rice. As they reset the shot clock, and he gets fouled by Drake Allen. So we're going to take our final media timeout of the night. Boise State putting this thing to bed. They lead 80-59 over Utah Valley. Boise State with over 80 points scored in their 4th straight home game. Hung 109 on Western Oregon on December 9th. Scored 95 against Northwestern State on December 12th. Had 88 against Cal State Fullerton on December 17th. They went out on the road. They come back. Well, they've hung 80 on Utah Valley tonight.
So many weapons for them, Jay. I mean, so many guys can have a big night.
You're looking at one of them, Max Rice, over 1,000 points in his career this evening. He eclipsed that mark. He hits the front end of the 1-and-1. He has 22 points. Been on the floor almost the entire night, 35 minutes for Max. rare miss at the free throw line for one of the best free throw shooters in the NCAA. Allen looking for Dorius.
So Mohamed Silla in for Boise State, getting a few minutes. Was that lob pass?
This time Boise State's ready for it. Mo Silla hasn't seen a ton of action, but I know Leon Rice and this coaching staff knows they're gonna need him at some point in time this year.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with that. As physical as the Mountain West Conference is, you just know there's going to be a game or two where guys are in foul trouble.
Max Rice and Chibuzo Abo going to check out for likely the final time tonight. Andrew Meadow into the game. And Kobe Young makes his first appearance of the contest. It'll be Cam Martin at the free throw line for a 1-and-1. Misses that one. Back quickly the other way, Stone Carrawell. Misses badly. Keene with the rebound, pushes up court. Wow, great pass from him. As that's Meadow that goes up to lay it in, but gets fouled.
Boy, really good look here by R.J. Keene, too.
Fourth personal foul for McClanahan.
Meadow struggled a little bit from the free throw line this year.
Yeah, he has.
I don't think that's common for him. I think he's got a good stroke, and I think he's going to make a lot of free throws this season.
Showed it off right there. Technically entering tonight, shooting only 47% from the free throw line. Averaging 3.8 points per game, a little over a rebound, and about 12 minutes of action. He's appeared in every game for the Broncos, including one start. Hits both free throws to give him 8 points.
Boy, he's just going to get better and better and better. You'll see a different player a month from now. And Utah Valley just wants to dribble that thing to the rim at all costs.
Boise State doing a great job. Toolson called for the travel. Love Leon Rice firing up off the bench. I know these might seem like meaningless minutes, but love the defensive effort he saw right there from his team. Double fist pump as Boise State forces another turnover.
Kobe Young, another one who could give Boise State some minutes this season, too.
Such an athletic guy. I mean, that just shows you how deep this team is. Technically, Kobe playing less minutes than he did last year. R.J. Keene going up, but gets fouled trying to hammer that thing home.
Yeah, good take by Keene, too. Could have just laid that up, but that's not as much fun as smashing one on somebody. Keene, a 71% free throw shooter.
The thing about RJ, you love to see, and that's why it's kind of encouraging right there. He hasn't had a ton of offensive opportunities this season. And that's so important because, gosh, if you miss one or two in a game, you would love to get a look at 3 or 4 to try to redeem yourself. And if you're only getting 1 or 2 a game and that lasts for, a month or so, it's hard to kind of feel like you're being productive.
Yeah, it really is, and that's why it's so hard, coming off the bench, getting limited minutes. You want to play so well right away, but it's just difficult to get yourself started.
Up 24 with 1:54 remaining. Boise State has certainly sent in all the reserves. Cade Rice now joins R.J. Keene, Kobe Young, Andrew Meadow, and Mo Silla on the floor.
Hey, Jay, what do you want to bet Cade Rice gets a shot up before this game's over? I mean, it's in his blood.
Right?
It's in his blood. You probably never saw his oldest brother, Brock, play.
Oh,
buddy.
I covered him in high school.
Oh, he never
Once
met
upon
a
a
shot
time.
he didn't like. in the gym, in range, for sure.
Probably the most confident one in the bunch, too, right?
Lots of confidence.
It's been crazy watching all those kids grow up. I remember Cade rolling around here just as a little kid, watching NCAA selection shows, 2013 and 14.
Yep. Now wearing the number 8 for Boise State.
Yeah. First guy to ever wear the number 8 for Boise State, by the way. NCAA kind of changed some of their number rules this offseason, allowing him to wear that for the late, great Kobe Bryant. 2 on the shot clock. Keene forces it up, an air ball. And on the rebound, Mo Silla commits the foul.
Cade Rice made a couple of good passes there when I was just sure he was going to pull it. He had a couple of good looks. Osiris Grady gets a chance to knock down a couple. Good looking stroke.
So Boise State's going to exit the non-conference portion of their schedule 9-4. Again, when you look at how they challenge themselves, honestly, I think that's about what you probably would have realistically expected in the non-conference.
I think that's fair. I think they might have given one away that they had hoped maybe to get away with, but they just played a great schedule.
I look at that, and I totally agree with you on one hand, but you know, it felt like that Washington State game was certainly one they could have grabbed. But you look at the North Texas game. Boise State finished that game on an insane run in order to rally and win that thing. It looked like it was over. Kobe Young goes up and gets a pair.
Yeah, Jay, let's face it. The only thing that matters is conference, right? I mean, you have to be in the top 2 or 3 in this conference.
We'll have to wait to see how things evolve in terms of how many bids the Mountain West gets. But, gosh, before the play even tips off, it seems like it's got to once again be something like a 4 or 5 bid league. And my favorite time of the year is going down to Las Vegas for the Mountain West tournament, because it's going to be a bloodbath once again. I think Boise State's going to be better equipped, though, because they're a deeper team this year.
Yeah, I would agree. I would absolutely agree. It's going to be a lot of fun watching the Mountain West. Oh, good play by Toulson.
Oh, Kobe wanted to finish that one with an exclamation mark. Air ball by Toulson, out of bounds. I believe it deflected off of a Utah Valley player. So with 4.1 seconds to go, the Broncos are going to inbound this thing and run out the clock. Back from Christmas break, the Broncos celebrate with an 85-63 victory over Utah Valley. They head into Mountain West Conference play at 9-4 overall, but most importantly, the Broncos secure their 21st straight win at ExtraMile Arena. That is now tied for the longest home winning streak in college basketball. When you look at the slate of games coming up for Boise State, again, in early to mid-January alone, they host Colorado State, UNLV, and San Diego State. That winning streak, Brian, is going to get tested.
Oh, it's going to get tested. It's again, I don't know how many times we can talk about this. The conference is loaded, and we're going to get to see some great teams that come in here in the month of January.
Some incredible individual efforts tonight. A really good team performance. Max Rice with 22 points on 8 of 12 shooting. Omar Stanley with 20 points for the second straight game. Had 23 at Washington State, 20 tonight, and he does it on such an efficient shooting performance. 7 of 10 overall, 7 rebounds, and Tyson Degenhart, 13 points. Chibuzo Abo, 10 points. As you see, the player of the game, Omar Stanley, thanking Bronco Nation for their efforts in fueling yet another Boise State victory here at ExtraMile Arena. I would say that we are joined now by the man of the hour, but in all honesty, he gets to share that spotlight tonight. Max Rice, 22 points. You go over 1,000 in your career. How big of an accomplishment is that, Max?
Yeah, it's cool. It kind of takes away from the team win, but it's an honor to be able to do that with Tyson, the guy I grew up with, the guy I coached. I coached him in our elite camp, and now he caught me in scoring pretty quickly, so good for him, and it was fun.
It took you 140 games, took Tyson 81. You actually brought this up. You called this to our attention 2 games ago, how you thought it would be cool if you and Tyson did it on the same night.
Yeah.
Is that something you guys talked about before the game at all?
No, not really. We try to make it more about the team.
Okay.
But I'd be curious to see the stats on how many teammates did it together, because I think that's kind of cool. And maybe in 10, 15 years we can say we got it together. So hopefully we're talking about better stuff than that, though, like a tournament run or something like that.
Max, it doesn't matter how many games it took you to get it. You got it. Major accomplishment. Congratulations. You've come a long way from Bishop Kelly High School.
Yeah, exactly.
You really have.
You know the type of high school basketball I was playing, and then to do this in college is huge. And credit to my teammates tonight. They found me, and it was a great game.
That's fantastic. Tell us about the Mountain West Conference. Jay and I have been talking about it all night. We are so excited to watch this thing start in January. How are you guys feeling about it?
I mean, we feel great. Obviously, we got a great home crowd every game, and I think in conference play it's going to be sold out for most of the nights. Credit to our conference. They've done a great job with all their wins. They're undefeated, most of them 12-1, 11-2, but they're giving us the opportunity to be the hunters. So,
Max, how much more dangerous do you guys think you are offensively? I mean, this is the 4th straight home game. You guys have hung at least 85 points on the board.
Yeah.
I'm going to go back and look at the last time you did that, but I'm going to guess it's been a little while. How balanced are you guys on scoring? How dangerous are you guys because of it?
Yeah, we got a lot of good scorers out there. I think there's a couple areas we can get better at, like offensive rebounding. I think, obviously, I like when they kick it out, but sometimes we're forcing it in there. And, against Mountain West opponents, they're bigger than that even. So a couple areas we can work on, but 85 is pretty solid at home. Got to find a way to do that on the road as well.
Man, Max Rice, 22 points, big Boise State victory. Good luck in Mountain West Conference play, Max.
Appreciate it. Thanks, guys. Appreciate
Congrats,
you, too.
Max.
Yep.
Big effort by Max Rice. Again, 4 Boise State players finishing in double figures. Omar Stanley with 20 points. Tyson Degenhart with 13 points. And Chibuzo Abo with 9 points in the second half, finishing with 10 in the game. The Broncos overall shoot 55% as a team. An incredible effort for Boise State as they extend their home winning streak here at ExtraMile Arena. We are back to wrap things up right after this. Well, Boise State moves to 7-1 all-time against Utah Valley. 6 straight wins over the Wolverines, and the one we witnessed tonight, the most decisive in the matchup between these two over history. Previously, the largest margin of victory for the Broncos over Utah Valley, 20 points. Tonight, they get the Wolverines by 22. We look at some of the final stats for this evening's game as we give you a nice little look at the court here. Inside ExtraMile Arena, fans filtering out, ready to go home and celebrate the new year, but they also get to do so in style by celebrating a Boise State win. You know, Brian, you shoot over 50% from the floor, over 40% from 3, and over 75% from the free throw line. You're going to win a lot of games.
And you get a lot of rebounds. 42 tonight for the Broncos, above their average this season. It was really a complete effort by the Broncos. And Utah Valley, I mean, Boise State kind of made it look like it was kind of their game the whole way. Utah Valley's not a bad basketball team.
No.
I mean, they made that look a little easier than maybe it should have been.
You look at points in the paint, Boise State with a 52-34 advantage. Maybe a few too many turnovers for the Broncos. They kind of crept up on them there in the second half. They finished with 15. Cam Martin had 4 himself, but also Cam, 10 points off the bench, 6 rebounds, 2 assists. A really nice presence from the bench this evening. We've been hyping them up kind of all preseason. Nice to see them show up. Andrew Meadow, 8 points, 20 total points from the bench when you throw in Kobe Young's 2 points right there. Well, now I guess the only question that's left to ask, Brian, is Boise State ready to contend for yet another Mountain West Conference championship? And if they do, potentially punch their ticket to a 3rd straight NCAA tournament. We look back at the road ahead here for the Broncos now.
Yeah, Jay, I think they're ready. I mean, they've played a tough schedule. They're battle-tested. They have a deeper bench. They have multiple players who can score at any time. Mm-hmm. I think they're ready. I think the coaching staff's got them ready. But this is maybe the toughest conference that we have seen from top to bottom in many, many years.
Yeah.
I mean, I would not be surprised if the conference champion has 4 or 5 losses.
I agree with you. I think it's going to be almost impossible for anybody to navigate this league with less than that total, because they're going to have to go out on the road and play in some really hostile environments. I think the one interesting thing when I look at Boise State's schedule, at least one thing of note, they did draw the early bye. Now, I do actually think that Leon is a little bit of a fan of it, because it just gives him that one last chance to critique, analyze, reset before you run at this thing here over these next 2.5 months. Maybe you would love it to see it pushed a few weeks down the road, but with the depth and experience of this team, I think they'll be ready to handle that.
Yeah, pros and cons to the early bye. But again, these guys, Coach Rice wants to practice, right? He wants to get things set. He wants to teach. He wants to coach. And so I think he's probably happy to have that early bye.
They continue to figure out their rotations. I can't wait for the game on January 9th. Again, we'll be back broadcasting that game against the Rams, but Bronco Nation, you have been warned. That's one of those games you want to fill this place to the absolute brim and help the team that wears the blue and orange pick up a victory over a really talented Colorado State squad that might have the best player in the league on it.
Yeah, and don't be afraid to travel with this Bronco team, too, because have you ever been to a game in Logan, Utah? I mean, that place is crazy. How about the Pit in New Mexico?
Oh.
A little crazy. I mean, or Nevada, Reno, and Nevada. I mean, Coach Alford have them ready. So don't be afraid to get in the car and drive to some of these games.
You talk about the Pit, and I remember my first time laying eyes on that thing. It's been about a decade, but I really had to see it to believe it. And you walk in, and it is a steep downhill, trajectory or whatever to the court. It is truly built in a pit, and it feels like fans are right on top of you. The Lobos finding their stride right now with 10 straight wins. I mean, it's going to be an outstanding couple months to come here for the Boise State men's basketball team. It's been a fun holidays. Boise State now gets to celebrate the new year before they head down to San Jose State to take on the Spartans to tip off Mountain West Conference play. If you could say one thing from the preseason, Brian, what is your biggest takeaway? Who is the player that has surprised you the most on this Boise State men's basketball team? Because we kind of know what to expect out of Tyson Degenhart. The same can be said for Max Rice. It feels like Chibuzo Abo, a little bit of a surprise with the fact that he apparently still has this massive leap that he can take. I think the thing that's interesting about Chibuzo, real quick, I want to add one more note to him, is that he's finally at a place that wants to develop every part of his game, right? Like, it used to be just run on the floor and shoot. Now it's about guarding, it's about ball handling, it's about rebounding, and we're seeing the complete package there. But pushing beyond that, you have guys like the newcomers, Roddy Anderson and Omar Stanley. Who to you has stood out?
Well, I'm going to answer that in 2 ways. First of all,
Okay.
I think Omar Stanley is, as advertised,
Special.
He's special. He really is. And he's such a good kid, which even makes him more special. And I mean, you want him to see success. Yep. But I think the thing that has been so different this year for me is Abo. He is so focused and can be so dominant when he wants to be. I mean, we didn't really see that. He's a great player last year, don't get me wrong. But he can just put the team on his back. And there's going to be games in this conference where he's going to need to do that. And I think he's the skilled, the high-caliber kid who can now do that.
Yeah. I mean, he can score in bunches. We've seen him score almost 20 points in a first half alone. Tonight he scores 1, bounces back with a nice second half. But overall, this Boise State team charges into the new year with some nice momentum. Again, exiting non-conference play, 9-4 overall. They win their 21st straight home game tonight, blowing out Utah Valley. For everyone in the truck, along with my partner Brian King, I am Jay Tuss. It has been a fun night here at ExtraMile Arena. The Broncos win tonight, 85-63 the final.